Hello everyone, my name is Martina Hudecová and I'm assistant professor at the University of Saint Cyril and Methodius at the Institute of Management in Trnava in Slovakia. So today I will be discussing the results of the study titled Consumer Perspective on Drivers and Barrier of Sustainable Tourism, Insights from Slovakia. So tourism represents one of the fastest growing and most significant sectors, and it is an essential source of income for many countries. However, it also has several negative impacts that can be classified into three main categories. So the first category represents economic impact. For example, over-dependence on tourism can destabilize local economies, especially when tourism fluctuates seasonally. The second impact is environmental impact. Tourism contributes to pollution or habitat destructions and depletion of natural resources. And the last impact is social impact. So tourism can lead into cultural erosion, overcrowding, or maybe rising living cost, which can negatively affect local communities. So in response to this negative effect of traditional tourism, the concept of sustainable tourism has emerged. This concept is focused on, for example, preserving natural ecosystem and supporting local communities and minimizing negative environmental impact and promoting responsible travel practices. So it could be concluded that sustainable tourism is built on three core pillars, and that is environmental, economic, and social pillar. So now let's move on to the main objective of the presented study. So the main objective of the study is to analyze the consumer attitudes towards sustainable tourism, specifically exploring the main motivational drivers and barriers that influence the choice of sustainable destination in Slovakia. So the study is based on primary data, and they were collected from an online questionnaire survey in January to February 2025. The results of the questionnaire survey were processed in statistical software Excelstat, and the final research sample consisted of 122 Slovak respondents. So to fulfill the main objective of the study, two hypotheses were developed. In the first hypothesis, we are trying to find out if there are significant differences in the perceived barriers to choosing sustainable tourism destination. And in the second hypothesis, we were trying to find out if there are significant differences in the importance of various motivators for choosing a sustainable tourism destination. So Friedman test and Nemaze method were used to proceed the data. So now let's move on to the profile of the research sample. So it could be concluded that 52% of the sample were women and men represented 48% of the sample. Moreover, more than 57% of participants live in the urban areas, while 43% of respondents live in the rural areas. So if you take a look at the table, it could be concluded that regarding age, the largest group of respondents were represented in categories 18 to 25 years old and 26 to 35 years old. The majority of the respondents have university degree. It was 55%, and the largest group of respondents were employed, and 22% of the sample were students. So now let's move on to the main results of the study. So at the beginning of the survey, respondents were asked about their frequency of travel. So the results reveal that the majority of the participants, specifically 56%, reported that they travel once or twice per year. More than 28% of respondents indicated that they travel between 3 or 5 times annually. Additionally, only 15% of respondents stated that they travel more than 6 times per year. Moreover, when discovering what are the main reasons for their travel, the main results show that the most frequent reasons for the travel were vacation at the seaside or in the mountains, or family visits, studying abroad, and attending conferences and business trips. Subsequently, the next question in the questionnaire dealt with the awareness of sustainable tourism. So based on the results, the majority of participants, more specifically 65% of the sample, were unaware of the concept of sustainable tourism, and only 35% of the sample indicated that they were familiar with it. Among those who were aware of the concept of sustainable tourism, the most common association included green, accommodation in nature, as well as accommodation in the mountains. So now let's move on to the next results. We're asking our respondents to rank 14 barriers when one was the least significant barrier and 7 was the most significant barrier for choosing the sustainable destination. And the Friedman test and the Maze method were used to evaluate these differences in the perceived barriers to choosing a sustainable tourism destination. So our findings show that the first hypothesis was confirmed, and the significant differences occurred between the selected barriers and those across Slovak respondents differ. So the results of the analysis show that the most significant barriers for selecting the sustainable destination are related to low awareness and education of our respondents about the sustainable option, and the misconception that sustainable tourism is less comfortable and more expensive. So these barriers are represented in a group G, which is on the slide, and it is the most important barrier of the respondents. On the other hand, when you look at the table, you can see the group A, which represent the least significant barriers for choosing sustainable destination, which concludes an excessive environmental impact and resistance from local residents. The next table presents the differences between the evaluating the drivers for choosing the sustainable destination. And also, it could be concluded, we use a Friedman test, and it could be concluded that the second hypothesis were confirmed. Respondents were asked to rank 12 motivational drivers, where 1 was the least significant motive and 7 was the most significant motive of choosing a sustainable destination. And it could be concluded that there are statistically significant differences between the selected motivation, and they differ among Slovak respondents. So the group A included the least significant motivators for respondents, and it was responsible travels bring me inner peace and the current trend and social expectation. And on the other hand, the results show that the most significant motivational factors for choosing a sustainable destination are related to seeking new experiences, interest in local culture, and health-conscious and environmentally friendly travel. So they are represented in a group F. So let me just sum up the main points of my presentation. So the main aim of the study was to identify the main drivers and main barriers influencing the choice of sustainable destinations. So according to the results, the most significant barriers were low awareness about the sustainable tourism options and mixed conceptions regarding the higher cost of sustainable destination. And on the other hand, the key motivators for choosing the sustainable destinations are connected with the new experiences and interest in local culture, and also the health factor really influence the choice of sustainable destination. So based on our findings, it could be concluded that the research provide valuable insights for policymakers and businesses operating in tourism sector in Slovakia to develop an effective strategies for promoting sustainable tourism. So that brings me to the end of my presentation. Thank you very much for your attention.